Guys, hope you all are having a great day. Don't forget to subscribe and all the links are down below. So I know for the past month people have been talking about the new Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 foundation, saying it's like a dupe or it's very similar to the Estee Lauder Double Wear. So rather than just doing my plain review on the foundation, I decided that I am going to compare the two. So over here I have the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place Makeup. This is in 2N1 Desert Beige, and I have the lightest shade here, and in Creamy Vanilla. So let's get right into it. And to start off with the cheaper foundation, this can be found at Milani's website, Walgreens, Walmart, other places. I got mine at Walgreens. It is $8.99 or $9.99. I want to say it was $9.99. It comes in like a plastic-ish glass bottle, like a mix between the two, I would say, and it comes with a pump. So I'm glad it has the pump. But for the Estee Lauder Double Wear, this is $37 or $38. You can get it at Macy's, Nordstrom. I believe they started selling it at Sephora, and it does not come with a pump, just a gold cap, but I have a pump I always add on to it, but I haven't added it to this one yet. So for that point, they both also come with 1 fluid ounce, as most foundations do. And now for the shade range. Milani's shade range is horrible, because this is the lightest shade, and it is still too dark for me. And I'm the 3rd or 4th into the Estee Lauder Double Wear. So, I mean, the fact that this is still too dark for me is kind of amazing. And it is yellow, yellow, yellow. I had put it on this morning and I had to mix some of this in because it came out so yellow. And for me, I have neutral undertones, so it looked very yellow on me. So that's one complaint I have about this, is the fact that most of the undertones are yellow, and then it doesn't seem to be made for light skin, almost like medium to dark skin, because they have some really dark shades in this line. With the Estee Lauder Double Wear comes with 3 types. It has neutral, cool, and warm undertones, and then it has a bunch of ones, like 1N1 is the lightest, or 1N2 is the second lightest. I have the 3rd one here, which is 2N1, and the N stands for neutral. So I like that you can really, really customize and pick your shade for this. Now, that's where I feel like the Milani lacks, and the reason I don't wear it as often is because it takes a lot of mixing in with my foundation mixers and evening it out for my skin tone, that when I'm in a rush, it's not worth it. So the 3rd is wear time. Now, I would say Estee Lauder Double Wear wears about 12 to 14 hours. I never really notice it. If I apply it at 6 o'clock in the morning, which I tend to do, by 8 o'clock at night, it still looks fine to me, and that's 14 hours later. Like, I really don't notice much of it. Sometimes it will shear out a little bit and just get cakey around my nose, but that's really, really late in the day, and that's after being really oily all day. So this really does stay in place. I don't really have an issue with it, and I do have oily skin. I would say the Milani lasts about 10 to 12. It also stays on very long. I don't notice any of it really disappearing. Again, it fades a little bit. It fades a little bit more than the Estee Lauder Double Wear. So that's about it, which again doesn't really bother me too much because it doesn't fade completely where my acne is showing. So the fact that both of them can last 12 plus hours is great for me, because I really do like my foundations to be long wearing. And for waterproof wise, the Estee Lauder doesn't really move around in water. Either does this, but I mean, if you do rub your face, it's gonna come off. Transfer proof, this shows a little bit more tackiness than this does, to the point where it transfers a little bit more. Like my Estee Lauder Double Wear, if I'm like rubbing my face against something, of course it's going to transfer, but if I just like pat my face, there's not much that comes off. If I pat my face with the Milani, though, I notice a little bit more come off, but it's still, the transfer isn't that bad. I notice it the most when people call me on my phone and I see the residue left on my screen. Now for consistency, this is where it's different. This Estee Lauder is more of a liquidy consistency, which I will show you here. As you can see, it's more liquidy. Now, it is pretty thick, so it doesn't just run down like water, which I'm going to actually put this back in here. I'm not about to waste foundation when it's $40 almost with tax. Where this one, anyway, is a little bit, like, it's a lot thicker, as you can see. It comes out like a dot. It's very, very thick. So for consistency, the Milani is actually a lot thicker than the Estee Lauder Double Wear, but the Estee Lauder Double Wear does do full coverage. I say this is like extra coverage, full coverage, anything you can get. I would say the Milani is about, I would still give it a full coverage because it does cover my acne for the most part, but I still like to add concealer over it just for the really, really dark acne scars I have. So I would give this medium coverage if you use a beauty blender, but definitely a full coverage with any type of brush. And you can get extra coverage if you add a second layer. So for that, I like it because for me, I just need something that lasts a long time and something that covers a lot of my acne. No drugstore foundation has been able to compare to the coverage that Estee Lauder gives me. The L'Oreal Infallible came close, but it broke me out. So unfortunately, I did not continue with that foundation. And then for 5 Other and Personal, I really don't have anything else to say. There's no like bad smell. They both smell like foundations, I guess. If you're on a budget, or if you don't have really bad acne scars like me and you're not as fair as I am, I would pick this up right away. It's great. And I've even heard people with drier skin talk about how they like it a lot because it doesn't dry down completely matte. But as you can see, my face isn't that oily, and all I did was set it with a little bit of powder. And then the Estee Lauder Double Wear, like I will always probably continue to buy this, even with this foundation in the drugstore. One, because this is more my shade. It's very easy for me to pick out rather than just using this during the summer or having to mix something in it. But for the fact that I just find this I like a little bit better than the Milani. So, but the good part about having the both of them is that I don't have to worry about wearing this every day now that I've found a drugstore foundation that's comparable to the Estee Lauder, so I can switch off the days in which will save me money and I won't have to buy a new one of these every 3 to 4 months. But that's it. If you were thinking about grabbing the Milani one for $9.99, I think you should. I recommend it to basically anyone as long as you're not really, really fair, because doubtful that you'll find a shade, especially if you're fair and cool tone. But other than that, I hope you guys all have a great day.